timandate.com, we look up into the sky. We bring you exclusive footage from eclipses worldwide. We take our mobile observatory to where the action happens.
Hi, Stefan.
Hi, Anna. It's a real pleasure to welcome you at the Guyana Space Center, the Europe Spaceport.
We collaborate with experts and observatories across the globe to bring you the best view of celestial events. We explain how and show why it all happens while answering your questions during our live broadcast events. Find your home and even more details on our website while you wait. So join us next time on timandate.com. Welcome to timandate.com. We're here live streaming this annular solar eclipse, and we've just been looking at some spectacular images from Jeddah and from Bela. And welcome, Graham.
Hey, Anna, hi. So hey, here we are again. About every 6 months, the sun and the moon line up in the sky and produce somewhere in the world a solar eclipse. But, you know, every eclipse is different. Every eclipse has a special set of points.
And we've got a few points. What are those? What is today all about, Graham?
So, well, there's really 4 key points about today's eclipse. The first thing is it's an annular eclipse. So the sun and the moon will come into perfect alignment, but the moon is just not big enough to cover the sun completely. Instead, the sun will form a ring of fire around the edge of the moon. The second interesting point about today's eclipse is that, you know, most of the Earth's surface is covered by water, not land. So, you know, very often these spectacular eclipses happen out over the ocean, but not today. Today, the path of annularity, the very narrow corridor where we'll be able to see the ring of fire, 80% of it is overland. This really is the great overland eclipse today.
And a lot of people are going to be able to see it if they have clear weather.
That's right. It's also going to be a partial eclipse across large parts of Africa and Asia. So around about half the world's population have a chance of seeing some kind of an eclipse today.
There's also
Sorry, could you say that again, Anna?
It's also the solstice. So we're kind of calling this a solstice eclipse. Is there a connection between solstices and eclipses?
Right. So that's the third interesting point about today's eclipse. There is this strange quirk of timing that the summer solstice, this is the astronomical moment when the Earth's North Pole is tilted the closest towards the sun. That happened about 7¼ hours ago. So by a very strange quirk of timing, this is a solstice eclipse. Now, how rare is a solstice eclipse? We will be talking about that later on, because it is a very interesting question. But yeah, it is a strange coincidence of timing gives us this solstice eclipse.
And we were supposed to be traveling to Oman with our mobile observatory, but obviously you're in Japan, I'm in Norway, and we're watching images from our friends in the large astronomical community of the world.
That's right. So really the fourth thing that makes this a very unique eclipse is it is the first major eclipse of 2020. And of course, 2020 is the year when all of us have had our plans thrown up into the air. So sadly, lots of people who were planning to travel to observe today's eclipse have had to cancel their plans. Yeah, as you said, including us. Our time and date mobile observatory is not on the road. It's stuck there in Norway. But hey, we went out to ask for help from the astronomy community, and we had a just fantastic response, and we're getting in some great pictures from our friends and partners around the world.
Yeah, that's good. And what are we actually in for today, Graham? What is an annular eclipse? You explained it a little bit in the beginning, but how does it work?
Okay, now one thing we should just mention before we get into the annular eclipse, a very quick but very important safety message. Wherever you are in the world today, never look directly at the sun without proper eye protection. Even if you are on the path of annularity, and even if the sun is reduced to just a very narrow ring, that sunlight is still bright enough to cause permanent damage to your eyes, permanent damage to your retina. So never look directly at the sun without proper eye protection. And by that, we mean something like properly certified eclipse glasses, not sunglasses, not darkened plastic, not looking at the sun through clouds and thinking that the clouds might offer you some protection. They don't, unless you have proper solar eclipse glasses. Do not look directly at the sun today.
Well done, Graham. I forgot all about that since we're looking at the screen.
Right. Now,
So,
Anna, you were before that. You were asking what is happening today. Right. So it's an annular eclipse, and I think there you go. Right. We have a diagram. This is now looking from space towards the sun, the moon, and the Earth. We can see that there are three parts to the moon's shadow. There is that very big shadow, the very light shadow. That is the moon's penumbra. If you're standing anywhere in that very large light shadow, you will see a partial eclipse. The moon will partially cover the sun. Today, that includes large areas of Africa and Asia. Now, just to the right of the moon, we can see that very dark cone. That is the moon's umbra. If you're standing in the umbra, that's when you get a total eclipse. That's when the moon completely covers all of the sun. But today, the umbra, as we can see on this diagram, it's not quite reaching the Earth. And that gives us this third kind of shadow, the antumbra. And if you are standing in the antumbra and you look up at the sun, then you will see the entire moon silhouetted against the sun. That's when you will see this ring of fire.
So you have to be standing in that little shadow called the antumbra to see it.
That's right. Now, of course, this diagram, right. Now, I mean, this diagram is not to scale. The balance of the geometry of the Earth, the moon, and the sun is really quite remarkable. The moon, today, the moon is about 390,000 kilometers from the Earth. the length of the umbra is about 370,000 kilometers. So that umbra, the very darkest part of the moon's shadow, it's only missing the Earth by, really a few thousand kilometers. It's that close to being a total solar eclipse today. It also means that the antumbra shadow is very small, and it is making a very, very small shadow on the Earth today. It is only, it's only around 60 kilometers wide on the surface of the Earth. So you've got to be in exactly the right place at exactly the right time to see annularity today.
But we do have an animation that shows where it's possible to see both the partial and the annularity. The annularity comes up as a little red dot there.
That's right. So this is an animation of today's eclipse. This is about 6 hours speeded up into a few seconds. The main thing we're looking at here is the penumbra, the light part of the moon's shadow. The eclipse starts at sunrise in Africa. It then moves westwards, and it finishes at sunset out in the Western Pacific. Anyone standing in any of those light shadings will see a partial eclipse today. So really covering almost all of Asia today. Now, the main event, of course, is the annular eclipse, and for that we have to really now zoom in to our map, and this is the moon's antumbral shadow as it's moving across the Earth. And here it is moving across Africa. So it starts in Central Africa. It's now coming across the Red Sea. It's going to be moving across the Arabian Peninsula. It is incredibly tiny. And again, you think that the moon is hundreds of thousands of kilometers away in space. The size of its shadow on the Earth, of its antumbral shadow, is just this. The shape of the shadow is slightly changing. The size and shape of the shadow changes as it moves across the globe. You can see here it's getting smaller and smaller. We're coming up here towards the greatest eclipse in India. We'll be talking later on about why the shadow changes shape across its journey today. We're now seeing it going across the Himalayas. It's going into China. It's going across Tibet. In total, it's traveling about 15,000 kilometers today. It's going across 14 countries. And again, one of the remarkable things is that 80% of this journey of the moon's shadow is overland. We're seeing it here just coming up to the Taiwan Strait. The final bit of land that it crosses today is Taiwan. 140 kilometers across Taiwan. And now it's changing shape. You can see it's getting bigger, it's getting more elongated. It's also speeding up. This final 3,000 kilometers across the Western Pacific, it's going to cover this in just about 15 minutes. So the shadow is moving at a colossal speed across the Earth's surface. It's ending very close to Guam. We can see there it's just missing the southern tip of the island of Guam by about 10 kilometers. And it's ending there in the Western Pacific.
Yeah. And there we are back with us, a beautiful image from Saudi Arabia. But you just told me just before we started that there's something wrong with this image. Not wrong, but something odd.
Right. So when telescopes gather light, they often invert the image and give you an upside down image. And sometimes when it comes to broadcasting live pictures like this, sometimes the image is inverted again to make it the right way up, and sometimes it isn't. In fact, this picture that we are looking at from Saudi Arabia, this is actually an upside down image of the sun. If you are in Saudi Arabia and if you are looking at the sun with eclipse glasses, you will notice that this is actually an upside down image that we're looking at here. What are we by the way? It's 5:15 universal time. The maximum eclipse in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia, that is around about now, 5:12. So about 5 minutes ago was maximum eclipse in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. So this is as big as the eclipse will get in Jeddah. So this is
they're not in that tiny they're not in the tiny shadow.
That's right.
Antumbral.
That's right. So that very tiny antumbral shadow, it does cross Saudi Arabia today, but it only crosses the southern part, a very narrow strip of the southern part of Saudi Arabia. So Jeddah is further north. It's on the western side. It's next to the Red Sea. It's some distance from the path of annularity. So in Jeddah, this is the greatest eclipse that will be seen from Jeddah.
And we will leave you with some pictures from Jeddah and come back soon with some more commentary as the show goes on. Check us out on timeanddate.com. You can go in on our live blog, timeanddate.live, and read all about the eclipse there also on our blog. Thank you and see you soon. welcome back to timeanddate.com. We have been having a little break. I just wanted to remind everyone that we're going to be showing some spectacular annular eclipse images coming up here from our main feed in India, from Sirsa, India. And we do have a schedule for the eclipse, basically, the times worldwide. And Graham, could you explain what these times and terms mean?
Yeah, so the entire eclipse today lasts a little under 6 hours. So the partial eclipse started in Africa at 3:45. The Antumbra, the ring of fire, touched down in the Congo at 4:47. It's now rushing across towards Asia. It will reach maximum eclipse, the halfway point of its journey across the globe at 6:40, and that will be in northern India. And our main feed for today will be coming from a place very close to the point of maximum eclipse in northern India. The moon's shadow then continues rushing on across the globe. The annular eclipse ends at 8:32 out in the western Pacific near Guam. That will be the last ring of fire for today. And then the partial eclipse ends worldwide at a point in the Pacific quite close to the Philippines at 9:34. So there's a lot to come and a lot to happen, especially at Sirsa in India.
Yeah. So we have a schedule for Sirsa. Yeah, there it comes up. And this is our main feed. We've got some really great friends in Sirsa, Neelam and Ajay, and they've traveled to provide us these beautiful images because we couldn't do it ourselves with the mobile observatory.
That's right. So this is a wonderful husband and wife eclipse chasing team. Ajay and Neelam Talwar. They are based in New Delhi. They've been chasing eclipses together since 1995. In fact, they're not just a husband and wife eclipse chasing team. They now also take their 2 young children with them. Since 2005, they have been traveling the world to observe and photograph and film eclipses as a family. Today, this is very much a local eclipse for them. So, of course, with all the travel restrictions that we have at the moment, of course, we had to find local partners. So they were very fortunate. They jumped into a car on Friday from New Delhi, and they drove about 3 hours northwest of New Delhi. It's about 240 kilometers to the city of Sirsa in northern India. And the partial eclipse began around about 45 minutes ago in Sirsa. Yeah. We're looking at the live pictures right there in the top right part of the screen. Now, of course, the big highlight will be annularity. This is where the moon will move more and more across the sun until at 8:26. So this is going to be happening
2 hours. No.
So this is going to be happening at 6:26. 6:26 will be the annularity in Sirsa. Sorry, yeah, actually, yes.
The times are wrong.
Not the numbers that are on right. Not
No.
the numbers that are on the screen. Yeah, right. No, actually, that's a different place. The partial eclipse started in Sirsa at 4:46. So it started about 45 minutes ago at 4:46. Annularity, the ring of fire, will come at 6:26.
26.
So this is in about 56 minutes time. The moon will move completely across the sun, and we will see this ring of fire. So that is 6:26 universal time. Now, it doesn't last long. The ring of fire only will last about 30 seconds. So you have to be back here at you have to be here to watch it at exactly the right time, because it doesn't last long. So that is what we are looking forward to in Sirsa in India today.
Oh, if we can get our main image up from Sirsa again. We're in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia, and we've also got Abu Dhabi up there above your head, Graham. We've got a few images, 2 images from Abu Dhabi there.
Right.
Now Abu Dhabi.
So Abu Dhabi is a lot. Yeah, it's a lot closer to the path of annularity than Jeddah is. So we saw the maximum eclipse in Jeddah. The maximum eclipse there, the magnitude was 0.76. That means about 3/4 of the sun's diameter was covered by the moon. In Abu Dhabi, the magnitude of the eclipse at maximum, which is around about now, is 0.9. So about 9/10 of the sun's diameter is covered by the moon, and that gives us a very, very narrow crescent sun. So yes, that's at the top right of the screen there from Abu Dhabi. The maximum eclipse in Abu Dhabi is really around now. 5:33 is the eclipse maximum in Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. So there is a spectacular 0.9 magnitude partial eclipse in the United Arab Emirates.
So they're just missing it. They're just not getting the ring of fire.
That's right. Now, of course, this is coming from the International Astronomical Center in Abu Dhabi, but they were definitely hoping to send a team south across the Arabian Peninsula down to Saudi Arabia or to Oman to capture annularity, but with the travel restrictions that are in place, they were unable to do that. So they are settling for this very beautiful partial eclipse. Yeah, it looks like they're using 2 different telescopes there, using 2 different kind of filters. So we're seeing slightly different colors of the sun there. That's why we're looking at these double images of the sun here. But that is a 0.9 magnitude partial eclipse.
Okay, but we'll be seeing
Sirsa,
we'll be seeing an annular eclipse.
That's right. So from our main feed in Sirsa, we are going to reach this level of partial eclipse, but then the sun will keep eating away at the sun until it finally hollows out the sun, and the crescent sun, the horns of the crescent just keep reaching further and further around the moon until finally they meet and form this narrow ring of fire. So we've got that to look forward to from Sirsa, and again, that is coming up at 6:26 Universal Time in Sirsa. So that is.
So we'll be just under an hour, a bit less. So make sure you tune in again.
That's
we'll
right.
just take a
50
quick
minutes,
break here.
50
We'll be
minutes,
back soon. And see you soon. welcome back. So we're here at timeofdead.com/live. We're having a bit of a live session here from the annular solar eclipse going across Africa, most of Asia. It's 80% land that where this eclipse is moving fast across, and it's just left Oman, hasn't it, Graham?
That's right. So the Antumbra, that part of the moon's shadow that gives us annularity, the ring of fire, it left Oman about 10 minutes ago. It's just made its way across the Gulf of Oman, and it's right now arriving on the Asian mainland. This is the biggest chunk of its journey today, across the Asian mainland. The small sun that we have on our screen at the moment from Bela in Pakistan is close in southern Pakistan. It's close to the Gulf of Oman and the Arabian Sea, and they are reaching maximum eclipse around about this time. 5:59 is maximum eclipse in Bela, so that's about 9 minutes from now. That's the small crescent sun we're seeing in the top right corner of our screen right now.
Yeah, and we're also looking at our main image from Sirsa in India, and we could see a few clouds going over the sun there. We're hoping that that they don't thicken up before annularity. And we were lucky to cooperate with the gang in India, because we were supposed to travel to Oman, and we made a little animation from our night sky pages that shows what the eclipse would look like there. And well, I think it just ended. Let's see if we get the start of it. Here you go. Graham, you explain.
Yeah, so this is what happened in Oman around about 10 minutes ago. This is a short looped animation of the annular eclipse as it looked from the ground in Oman. Now, Oman was fairly close to the start of the path of annularity, so this was a morning eclipse in Oman. At the beginning of this loop, we can see here it's shortly after sunset. The sun is rising into the sky. The partial eclipse starts here around about 9 o'clock in the morning. And then annularity comes there mid-morning Oman time. And right now we're in this second partial phase in Oman, where the moon is now moving off the sun's surface and is uncovering the full sun once again.
And when I looked at this animation, I said, oh, but it's wrong, because the moon completely covers the sun. But then I got explained that if it did cover the sun completely, our night sky animation would have shown the stars and night sky instead of a brighter sky like we can look at right now.
Okay, right. Yes, so the sun, of course, is almost covered. It is 99% of the sun is covered by the moon during the annular eclipse today. But yeah, it's difficult to see on this small animation because of the size. There is still just a very narrow ring left.
Yeah, and during a total eclipse, the sky gets quite dark, but during an annular eclipse, it doesn't get as dark, right, Graham?
That's right, because there is a tiny bit of sunlight left, and that tiny bit of sunlight still generates an enormous amount of light. Anyone who has seen a total solar eclipse, will know that, the light levels don't start dropping noticeably until about 80% of the sun is covered, and it never goes completely dark, even when there is just a tiny, tiny crescent sun, or when there's just a very narrow ring of fire. That's still a lot of light that the sun is producing and generating. So yeah, it doesn't go completely dark.
And that's why it's so important to be wearing these eclipse glasses at all times when you're looking up at the sun, not just well, during a total eclipse you could be able to look at the solar corona, but for an annular eclipse you should keep your glasses on all the time, right, Graham?
That's right. And of course we're not just talking about eclipses here.
Yes,
you know, we should never look at the sun at any time without proper eye protection. You mentioned about a total eclipse, Anna. Of course, in a total eclipse, during totality, you can look then without eye protection, but you're not looking at the sun's disk, because that is totality. The moon is completely covering all of the sun's visible disk. All you can see at totality is as you said, the solar corona. That's the outer part of the sun's atmosphere. That's the only time you can look directly towards the sun, when the entire sun is covered. But that never happens during a partial eclipse. It never happens during an annular eclipse. So yeah, today the message is, at no time, never look directly at the sun without proper protection, which, as you said, is the proper solar eclipse glasses. They should be properly certified. On the back of the glasses there should be an ISO mark or a CE certification mark to show that they are properly certified and safe for directly looking at the sun.
And there's also another way. Instead of looking at the sun with glasses, we can use a different way to look at an eclipse, and that's by making a bit of a pinhole projector.
That's right. And this is a really effective and really fun way to look at an eclipse. You can project an image of the eclipsed sun. As we can see in the corner of the screen there, you can take two pieces of card, put a small hole in one piece of the card, and you can project the sun's image onto the other sheet of card, and you will get an upside down picture of a crescent sun. You can do a similar thing using binoculars. You can use binoculars to project the image of the crescent sun onto a piece of card as well. The best thing with projection is to fiddle around a bit. Try different sized holes, try different distances between the cards. You can get some really nice projections of the crescent sun.
You can also, if you're standing under a tree, you can actually look down at the shadow on the ground, and it will produce crescents, which is surreal.
But that's right. In fact, there are lots of pinholes around us in nature, and you just gave the best example, which is leaves on a tree. The little gaps, the little spaces between the leaves, they form natural pinhole projectors. That's right. And then you look down at the ground and you see these amazing crescent sun shapes on the ground. That is a great experience. Yeah.
And also when we were in Argentina, we actually brought a colander all the way back from Norway, and we held that up against the sun and towards some card, and we could also see the crescent shapes through the holes of the colander.
Anything you have that has got a small hole in it can act as a pinhole projector. I think straw hats can work quite well for projecting the sun. Really, anything with a small hole or a series of holes in it can be great projection devices for eclipses. That's right.
So I think the message is to just play around with it now that the crescent sun is in the sky.
That's right. That's really the best way, is just to have fun and experiment and see what can give you the best results.
And when we were in Argentina, we could play around with it together. But you're in Japan, I'm in Norway. We've got images coming from India, so there is a little bit of a delay between us if we seem a bit like, oh yeah, that's what you were saying, or we speak into each other's mouths, right? The delay.
By the way, just another couple of things that we should just mention on the safety message.
Okay.
We did have in our little diagram in the corner of the screen, there was a note about binoculars and telescopes. If you're, for looking at an eclipse through binoculars or telescopes, they do need special solar filters. You can't just use eclipse glasses if you're using those magnifying devices. So telescopes, binoculars, you can only use them if you have a specialist solar filter, and you really need to know what you're doing for using magnifying devices at an eclipse. The safest thing to do is to simply use a pair of eclipse glasses. Another thing we should just mention also, when you have your eclipse glasses, you still shouldn't stare at the sun for long periods. These are not designed to stare at the sun for minutes at a time. The best thing to do is to put on the glasses, have a short, quick look at the sun, and then look away. And maybe share the glasses, give them to someone else. Yeah. Do not just stare at the sun for long periods. And just the final safety message, if there are children, just be very careful with children and supervise children carefully. Meanwhile, back in Asia, it looks like we are around about maximum eclipse in Bela in Pakistan. So this is in southern Pakistan, close to the Arabian Sea. Maximum eclipse is around about now. Magnitude 0.98. So
they don't,
very, very close.
The horns won't meet. Yeah.
So this is as close to annularity as they will get in Bela. They are very close to the path of annularity, but just not quite on the path. So that crescent sun, the horns of the crescent, they get closer and closer, but that's as far around the moon as they go. This is maximum eclipse in Bela. From now, the moon will start sliding off the face of the sun and will start uncovering the sun once again.
But we are going to see a full ring of fire from India. I still see some clouds going by there. I'm hoping that they're just passing clouds in about 20 minutes time.
That's right. So again, yes, 6:26 is the annularity in Sursa.
So we're really closing in. We're going to leave you with this beautiful image, and we will come back soon. Make sure you tune in to timeanddate.com/live. There you can read about all the other places that we've passed. There's a blog full of content there. You've got access to our gallery. So make sure you go and check that out, and Graham, you and I will be back soon.
Структура. Так, ближе, ближе. Так. О, полная фаза. Откуда-то идет. А, нет, это 12. Братцы, ну сообщите хоть что-нибудь. А то я как в полном неведении. Меня попросили... Так. Минуту. Да. Связь наладилась. Меня попросили, я Владимир Сурдин, меня попросили прокомментировать это замечательное событие. И оно действительно редкое, я вам объясню почему. Вообще солнечные затмения вещь редкая. А чтобы они еще в хорошую погоду происходили, и кому-то повезло их увидеть, это совсем счастье. Но нам везет, потому что трансляция идет с тех стран, особенно в Саудовской Аравии, где вообще никогда не бывает облачной погоды. Но вдруг кому-то и в нашей стране тоже посчастливилось. Тогда сразу покажу. Не смотрите на солнце. Затмение – это не значит, что солнце не обожжет ваши глаза. Вот классические солнечные очки. Точнее говоря, не солнечные для пляжа, а солнечные для наблюдения затмений. Это единственное устройство, которое обережет ваше зрение. Их можно было бы сделать самим, если бы затмение уже не происходило. Теперь у кого они есть, могут смотреть на солнце, а у кого их нет, предлагаю вариант. Если кто-то не выкинул еще старые 3-дюймовые дискеты, вот эти вот маленькие, 3 дюйма, то они тоже помогут вам не обжечь глаза, глядя на солнце. Берете дискету, отодвигаете заслонку, и появляется лавсановый диск с нанесенным магнитным слоем. И сквозь него вы смотрите на солнце. Одним глазом, вы закрываете. Это достаточно хороший фильтр, который тоже поможет вам правильно наблюдать это явление. Теперь, почему оно редкое? Луна отбрасывает очень короткую тень. И эта тень, как правило, до Земли не достает. Или достает очень маленьким пятнышком, шириной 200-250 километров. И пробегая по поверхности Земли, позволяет тем, кто попал в данный момент в эту тень, наблюдать солнечное затмение. Но ширина тени зависит от того, как далеко Земля от Солнца и как далеко Луна от Земли. Чем ближе к нам Луна, тем шире тень. Чем дальше Земля от Солнца, тем меньше угловой размер солнечного диска, его легче закрыть Луной. Так вот, Солнце в летние месяцы, в конце июня, дальше всего от Земли, ну или Земля дальше всего от Солнца, и диск его меньше, и Луне легче его закрыть. Поэтому летние затмения солнечные, как правило, бывают полные и демонстрируют нам солнечную корону. Но в этот раз так сложилось, что и Луна далеко от Земли, что и она удалилась настолько, что ее диск не может соперничать с солнечным. И не закрывает его полностью. Ободочек, который будет виден в максимальной фазе, а она сейчас практически у вас на экране, в максимальной фазе затмения, он все равно не позволит увидеть корону. Он хоть и маленький, но достаточно яркий, и его рассеянный в атмосфере свет будет перебивать слабый свет солнечной короны. Жалко, корону мы не увидим. Но само по себе это явление тоже интересное и достойно наблюдения. Теперь, зачем это надо ученым? Когда-то солнечные затмения были очень важны. Когда астрономы совершенствовали теорию движения Луны, надо было точно замечать моменты, когда лунный диск на небе в проекции касается солнечного диска. Это называются моменты контактов. Вот 4 контакта. Один край коснулся, потом второй край коснулся, потом первый край ушел с солнечного диска и второй край ушел с солнечного диска. Эти 4 мгновения раньше астрономы фиксировали невероятно, с высокой точностью, там до тысячных долей секунды пытались, редко получалось, до сотых долей удавалось. И тогда можно было сравнивать математическую теорию движения Луны с ее реальным положением на небе. Это было очень важно. Сегодня теория движения Луны, она очень сложная, очень сложная. Она такая совершенная, что в этом большой необходимости нет. К тому же мы умеем измерять расстояние до Луны с точностью лучше 1 сантиметра. Фантастика, но мы это научились делать благодаря тому, что когда-то на Луну закинули отражатели лазерного луча, и сегодня, посылая лазерный луч на Луну и принимая его обратно на Землю, мы получаем возможность измерять расстояние до Луны с точностью лучше 1 сантиметра. А значит, теория движения Луны сегодня совершенно до высочайшей точности. А в чем причина? Почему именно теория движения Луны такая сложная? Вы удивитесь. Солнце притягивает Луну сильнее, чем Земля. Фантастика. Почему же Луна тогда остается рядом с нами, а не улетает на Солнце? А вообще говоря, она, как и Земля, движется по орбите вокруг Солнца. Солнце ее притягивает сильнее, чем Земля, а Земля чуть-чуть подправляет движение Луны и не дает ей далеко от Земли отойти. Луна обращается вокруг Земли, но обе они спутники Солнца. Вот такая история. А значит, Солнце все время вмешивается в движение Луны и немножко меняет его. Если искусственный спутник Земли, который движется рядом с планетой, довольно простую орбиту выписывает, и тут главный источник силы Земля, то далекая Луна движется как бы под действием 2 хозяев, и Земли, и Солнца. И поэтому ее траектория очень сложная. Она никогда не повторяет один оборот за другим, все время немножко модифицирует, и поэтому расчеты оказываются непростыми. Теория движения Луны – это длинная-длинная формула, в которой десятки тысяч членов суммируются так, чтобы учесть влияние Земли, Солнца, неправильной формы Земли, влияние даже других планет. Юпитер, скажем, влияет на движение Луны и так далее. Вот поэтому затмение нам интересно. Почему еще? Луна сканирует солнечный диск, и мы изучаем это так же, как изучаем движение далеких планет, экзопланет, которые живут у других звезд. И для нас движение Луны и сканирование солнечного диска, как бы репетиция, оттачивание тех методов, которые позволяют потом, глядя на далекие планеты, изучать движение их, изучать строение тех звезд, рядом с которыми они живут. Такая вот репетиция исследования далеких экзопланет. В моей жизни было несколько замечательных мгновений, когда удавалось увидеть полное солнечное затмение. Конечно, оно поражает намного больше, чем кольцеобразное, которое мы видим сегодня. Но это фантастика, это остается на всю жизнь. Солнечная корона неожиданная, на фоне темного неба. Это зрелище, достойное того, чтобы искать его, чтобы ехать туда, где тень Луны пробежит по Земле. А, кстати говоря, почему тень Луны бежит по Земле? И именно с запада на восток. А давайте вспомним. Наша планета вращается, и она довольно быстро движется с поверхности Земли, примерно полкилометра в секунду в районе экватора. А на высоких широтах помедленнее, а на полюсах вообще не движется. Полкилометра. А Луна по орбите движется со скоростью километр в секунду. То есть она опережает вращение Земли. Поэтому лунная тень падает на Землю и движется с запада на восток, но не со скоростью километр в секунду, как Луна по орбите, а примерно со скоростью полкилометра в секунду, потому что другую половину компенсирует вращение Земли. Вот у нас тут в средних широтах тень бежит со скоростью где-то 700 метров в секунду. И вообще говоря, ее самолет, хороший самолет, такой сверхзвуковой, может преследовать. И как только появились гражданские самолеты, летающие со сверхзвуковой скоростью, а первым таким достаточно работоспособным был «Конкорд», на нем устраивали полеты фанатов астрономии вслед за лунной тенью. И он летел несколько часов, преследуя лунную тень, и люди могли наслаждаться зрелищем солнечной короны не несколько минут, а несколько часов, потому что облачности над самолетом нет, он летит на высоте 12-13 километров. Как-то раз в жизни мне такое тоже представилось. Я летел на самолете, правда это был не «Конкорд», не сверхзвуковой самолет, а маленький Як-40, вслед за лунной тенью. Тоже летел с запада на восток, когда лунная тень по югу нашей страны, тогда Советского Союза, двигалась примерно по линии БАМа. Все помнят, что такое БАМ. Байкало-Амурская магистраль. Она с юга огибает озеро Байкал. И вот тогда облачность была довольно тяжелая, непроницаемая. И мои коллеги, друзья, все любители астрономии, оказавшись внизу под облаками, к сожалению, не увидели полноценной солнечной короны, а нам удалось ее увидеть, потому что мы летели, хотя самолет не очень крутой, но он смог подняться над облаками с трудом, и мы летели уже в стратосфере, где облачности нет, и наблюдали корону. И более того, добрые пилоты уступили мне тогда место второго пилота справа, и я сел и имел возможность сфотографировать корону, потому что солнце было высоко, иллюминаторы самолетов выходят в бок, и в обычные иллюминаторы не было видно солнца и его короны. А на Як-40 есть иллюминаторы над головой пилотов. И вот мне посчастливилось сфотографировать, опубликовать снимок солнечной короны тогда, в 80-е еще годы. Если вы находитесь на одном месте, то вероятность увидеть полное солнечное затмение почти равна нулю. Через одно и то же место на земном шаре солнечная тень проходит примерно раз в 300 лет. Поэтому, если хотите наверняка увидеть солнечное затмение, ищите по предварительным прогнозам место с наибольшей вероятностью хорошей погоды. Обычно это горы, сухие места, пустынные места. Не надо ехать туда и наблюдать, поверьте, оно того стоит. Это впечатление, которое останется с вами на всю жизнь, и надо его ощутить хотя бы раз, ну а многие и не один раз такое ощущали. У меня есть еще одна любопытная история, связанная с солнечными затмениями. Давным-давно, в начале 80-х, я был аспирантом в МГУ и председателем студенческого научного общества. Тогда предстояло затмение, которое лучше всего было видно на Дальнем Востоке, на Сахалине. И я мечтал о том, чтобы наших студентов, группу самых продвинутых ребят, кстати, некоторые из них уже доктора наук, отправить туда. Но, сами понимаете, из Москвы на Сахалин дорого летать, и тогда было дорого, и надо было где-то найти деньги. Я решил пойти к проектору МГУ и попросить финансировать эту поездку студентов. Сам я тогда остался в Москве и летал на самолете за тенью. Деньги были большие, и убедить проректора в том, что надо их дать студентам, было нелегко. И тогда я решил сделать какое-то научное исследование, которое бы в этом убедило. Проректор был математик по образованию, значит, надо было что-то математическое ему предъявить. И я сделал опрос, ну, как говорят сегодня, соцопрос среди сотрудников института, уже квалифицированных астрономов. А не привелось ли им в детстве увидеть солнечное затмение? И оказалось, что каждый третий примерно из ставших профессиональными астрономами в детстве, ну, в школьные годы или в детские годы видел полное солнечное затмение. Это намного превышало случайную выборку. Раз в 300 лет. А раньше ведь телевизионных репортажей не было, интернета, представьте себе, не было. И либо ты видел затмение, когда тень проходит через твой город или село, либо ты его никогда не увидишь. И вот с этой статистикой я пришел к проектору и показал ему, что факт наблюдения солнечного затмения в детские и юношеские годы сориентировал профессиональные предпочтения людей, что они стали настоящими учеными, потому что их к этому, очевидно, подтолкнуло вот это замечательное, незабываемое событие. Проректор был так этим воодушевлен, что деньги тут же нашлись, студенты поехали наблюдать затмение, и многие из них действительно стали профессиональными. Ну, все стали профессионалами, а некоторые продвинулись в своей карьере, в своей работе научной довольно далеко. И я очень рад, что каким-то образом затмение и вот это вот исследование статистическое помогло их карьерному росту, их увлеченности, стимулировало их дальнейшую научную любознательность. Так что, надеюсь, из тех, кто сегодня смотрит на экран и воодушевится этим событием, тоже сориентирует их в сторону любви к астрономии, ну, может быть, не в профессиональном, а в каком-то житейском плане, и вы дальше будете следить за теми событиями, которые происходят на небе. Это очень важно. Надо чаще поднимать голову к звездам, к Солнцу и к Луне. А теперь одно замечание. Когда будет максимальная фаза, и мы увидим тоненький ободочек Солнца, еще не закрытого Луной. Наверное, мы его сейчас видим, но у меня на экране его нет. А может быть, есть. Сейчас я попробую выйти на сайт, где Планетарий. Планетарий ничего не показывает. Да, понятно. Ладно, возвращаюсь в свой экран. Итак, когда Солнце будет почти закрыто, надо обратить внимание, к западу от Солнца, градусах в 30, должна появиться на небе Венера. Потому что в момент кольцеобразного затмения, хотя небо не абсолютно черное, но довольно темное, а Венера сегодня в максимально ярком положении, максимально яркой фазе. Минус 4,5 почти звездная величина. Это очень ярко. Вообще говоря, в такой ситуации в горах Венеру видно даже при полностью открытом Солнце. Ну а сегодня оно будет на 90% выключено Луной. Небо потемнеет достаточно, и я уверен, что вы увидите Венеру. С другой стороны, слева, к востоку от Солнца, будет Меркурий, но маловероятно, что его удастся заметить, он не такой яркий. А Венера действительно яркая. И те, кто сейчас наблюдают где-нибудь в Индии, Пакистане, в Саудовской Аравии или где-то еще, или на территории Тихого океана, где это затмение будет в максимальной фазе, я надеюсь, увидели Венеру, и потом нам об этом расскажут. Это интересно. Ну, а какие еще происшествия могли быть связаны с Солнцем? Вообще, с солнечными затмениями у историков астрономии случился казус. Сегодня мы умеем достаточно точно вычислять движение светил и вперед во времени, и назад во времени, на тысячелетия вперед, на тысячелетия назад. И вот когда вычислили старые, древние, времен Древнего Рима затмения, оказалось, что, вот там была война с медянами, оказалось, что историческое событие не укладывается на результаты наших вычислений. Историки говорят, что в момент битвы произошло полное солнечное затмение. Это вот 2000 с лишним лет назад. И солдаты были так этим напуганы, генералы, руководители этой битвы, что они прекратили драку и заключили мирное соглашение, думая, что боги разгневались, ну и так далее. Понятно. Но не получалось. Расчеты показывали, что через то место, где эта битва происходила, не могла пройти лунная тень. Она проходила километрах, ну, примерно в 10 тысячах километров к западу. Оказалось, что в этих расчетах не участвовал один математический факт – замедление вращения Земли. Предполагалось, что Земля всегда вращалась с той скоростью, и Луна с той скоростью по орбите, как мы сегодня это видим. А выяснилось, что это было не так, что постепенно взаимодействие Луны и Земли заставляет Луну все медленнее и медленнее двигаться по орбите и удаляться от нас, а Землю все медленнее и медленнее вращаться. И поэтому учет этого явления, собственно говоря, это историческое замечание помогло нам измерить скорость замедления Земли. оно вращается медленнее. Наши сутки, солнечные сутки, растягиваются, потому что Луна тормозит своим приливным влиянием вращения Земли. Это очень было полезно, и вот то историческое затмение позволило ученым точно этот эффект измерить. И еще одно замечание. Ребята, то, что мы сегодня видим как неполное кольцеобразное затмение, у нас бывает нечасто. У нас бывают и полные, и неполные, и частные. Вот пройдет много-много лет, и наши далекие потомки, когда будут видеть затмение Солнца Луной, будут видеть только кольцеобразные затмения. И у них никогда не случится полных. Для тех, кто останется на поверхности Земли, конечно, не будет летать в космосе. Почему? А я только что объяснил. Луна удаляется от Земли. Видимый диаметр ее диска становится все меньше и меньше. И если сегодня он не каждый раз прикрывает Солнце, то в будущем он никогда уже не будет способен прикрыть полностью солнечный диск и показать солнечную корону землянам. Ну, конечно, в те далекие годы интернет еще уже будет совершенным, прямым, из космоса благодаря Илону Маску. И любой сможет посмотреть репортаж с борта космического аппарата, который приблизится к Луне и сделает возможным полное затмение. Но те, кто останутся на Земле, своими глазами его никогда не увидят. А всегда будут видеть то, что мы с вами видим сегодня на экранах компьютеров. Кольцеобразное затмение. Ну, иногда говорят кольцевое, но профессионалы говорят кольцеобразное. Annual. Так. Где мои помощники? В каком состоянии наш репортаж? Сообщите мне, пожалуйста. Нет, звук не проходит, к сожалению. Я еще в эфире. Хорошо, ладно. Завидую тем, кто сейчас смотрит на экран и меня видит в маленькой рамочке. Основной экран занят изображением затмения, потому что у меня только моя физиономия на экране. Сейчас я попробую увидеть затмение с другого сайта. Ага, вот нам некоторые демонстрируют. Слушайте, действительно очень красиво. Тоненький-тоненький ободок. И это стоит того, чтобы сегодня отвлечься на него. Так, минутку. Все хорошо. Очень интересно. Ну, я рад, что очень интересно. Ладно. Еще бы вопросы какие-нибудь от зрителей этого явления. Но не надо отвлекаться. Давайте смотреть. Давайте смотреть и наслаждаться. И все-таки, как бы приятно не было смотреть на репортажи из других стран, своими глазами это выглядит совершенно по-другому. Вы видите все небо. Вы видите, как тень лунная постепенно надвигается на вас. Вот вернусь к той ситуации, которую я попытался описать вам в начале. Как мы с коллегами, летая на самолете, наблюдали солнечное затмение. История была такая. Этот самолет принадлежал геофизикам. И их интересовала не солнечная корона, а сам факт того, что на несколько минут Луна закрывает Солнце, ультрафиолетовое солнечное излучение прекращается, и в атмосфере Земли начинаются необычные процессы, то, что называется рекомбинацией. Ионы и электроны превращаются в нейтральные атомы. В общем, динамика атмосферы редкая и интересная для изучения. Поэтому геофизики взлетели с аэродрома в Тынде. Тында – это небольшой поселок тогда был, сегодня это, по-моему, город уже на Баме, столицей Бамы его тогда называли. Взлетели и полетели на восток, навстречу движущейся лунной тени, надеясь, что вовремя успеют развернуться и дальше уже лететь вслед за тенью, оставаясь максимально долго в лунной тени и продлевая таким образом для себя солнечное затмение. На Земле оно длилось примерно 5 минут, а самолет мог где-то 7,5 минут оставаться в лунной тени. Он был не сверхзвуковой. И вот мы летим над облаками, и вдали показалась лунная тень. А я уже стоял в ожидании, что меня пустят на место второго пилота пофотографировать. И перед этим сказал летчикам: разворачивайтесь быстрее, иначе вы не успеете к тому моменту, когда нас накроет лунная тень. Да нет, сказали они. Руководитель экспедиции сказал нам, что еще только через 5 минут надо разворачиваться. А я все-таки астроном, а не геофизик, и немножко лучше представляю себе, как движутся небесные объекты. Я быстро прикинул в уме и сказал: нет, поскольку мы летим навстречу лунной тени, она появится раньше, чем геофизики думали, ожидая, что она появится в районе аэродрома, для которого были вычисления проведены. И действительно, мы увидели, как прямо по облачности вот это темное с серыми краями пятно лунной тени стремительно движется на нас. Ну, летчики сделали боевой разворот, это было страшно, но буквально как на истребителе, положив его на крыло, и успели выровнять самолет к тому моменту, когда лунная тень накрыла самолет, и солнечная корона появилась, небо потемнело. И вот за эту астрономическую подсказку мне дали возможность заменить пилота в его кресле, хотя это, конечно, противоречило всяким правилам, но первый пилот был на месте. И я смог сфотографировать хорошим большим фотообъективом солнечную корону и немножко посмотреть на нее, буквально несколько секунд. И вот до сих пор это изображение в моей памяти, хотя уже прошло около 40 лет. Но поверьте, каждый из вас, кому повезет увидеть полное солнечное затмение, не забудет этого никогда. Это потрясающее зрелище. И даже животные реагируют на него очень активно. И даже неполное затмение все равно приводит животных в какой-то, ну, если не в ужас, то в настороженное такое состояние. Как это так? Среди дня вдруг начинают меркнуть свет, становится прохладно, а во время полного затмения просто достаточно холодно становится. За 5 минут остывает поверхность Земли. И животные реагируют. И я уверен, что сегодня в Саудовской Аравии, в Эфиопии, где началось затмение, в Пакистане, Индии, в Гималаях, животные ощутили необычную ситуацию, потому что солнце почти полностью выключилось. И за этим тоже интересно наблюдать. За реакцией животных наблюдать интересно. На днях, по-моему, позавчера, сотрудники магазина «Звездочет», который продает телескопы, бинокли и прочее оборудование для любителей астрономии, очень интересный пост выпустили. Самый простой и неожиданный прибор для наблюдения солнечных затмений. Знаете какой? Обычный кухонный дуршлаг. Потому что в нем много мелких дырочек, и если вы его тень отбросите на землю, ну, подняв этот дуршлаг над головой, то увидите там много-много изображений Солнца, закрытого Луной, серпики тоненькие. Каждая дырочка в дуршлаге работает как маленькая камера обскура. Ну, вообще говоря, можно сделать камеру обскура своими руками, даже легче, чем вы думаете, я сейчас расскажу как. Но обычный дуршлаг тоже позволяет это сделать. Ну, а самый простой вариант камеры – это взять кордонку какую-то, обложку тетради, и шариковую ручку, и стержнем, концом стержня проткнуть в обложке маленькую дырочку, где-то 1,5–2 мм размером. И у вас уже на расстоянии метра от этой обложки на белой стене или на белом листе бумаги, который вы положите на землю, достаточно четкое изображение серпика солнечного, закрытого диском Луны получится. Но еще интереснее сделать камеру обскуру длинной. Чем она длиннее, тем больше размер изображения. Но для этого надо было бы делать какое-то темное помещение длинное. Нет, не надо. Надо взять маленький кусочек зеркала. Если вы когда-нибудь разбивали зеркало, не выкидывайте мелкие осколки. Осколок размером сантиметр на сантиметр может работать как камера обскура. Его надо ставить в кусочек пластилина, чтобы можно было нагибать в нужное положение. И на расстоянии метров 5, 7, 10 от него положить картонную коробку открытой частью, направленной на этот осколочек зеркальный, и дно коробки застелить белым листом бумаги. Тогда в коробке будет достаточно темно, и направив лучик, зайчик солнечный от этого осколка, осколок работает как отверстие камеры обскура, от этого зеркального осколка, направив внутрь коробки, вы увидите большой, ну вот такого вот размера, солнечный диск, закрытый Луной, и если на Солнце в данный момент есть пятна, крупные пятна, вы даже увидите структуру солнечной атмосферы, пятна, потемнение краю, то есть такой самый простой телескоп, камера обскура, который иногда, наверное, в средние века кто-то использовал до изобретения линзового телескопа. А может быть и не использовали, это надо еще выяснить. Так, как там наша трансляция происходит? Наверное, меня уже вывели из эфира. Посмотрим на Солнце. А вот какой-то звонок. Да. Алло?
Hello again. We're looking at a beautiful city picture here from Taipei in Taiwan. We're back on timeanddate.live, and we're looking at this annular solar eclipse. And we talked about a little bit in the start that it's on a date that's it's like 6-7 hours away from the solstice, which feels less like a coincidence or not. That depends on what you explain, Graham.
Right. So the June solstice, this is the moment when the Earth's North Pole is tilted the closest towards the sun. It's the moment when the Earth's northern hemisphere receives the maximum amount of sunlight. And it's a curious coincidence that this year the June solstice coincides with this annular eclipse. So the question is, how unusual is it to have an eclipse on the June solstice? And you know what? It turns out to be a very interesting question.
We did look into our calculations to figure that out, because any solstice any solar eclipse happening on any date can be random, but there's also a system to it, right, Graham?
That's right. It's one of these things that kind of is random, but also it's not completely random. So let's take the question of how frequently a solar eclipse occurs on a particular date. Now, this is a little bit different from the June solstice question, because the June solstice can occur on June 20th or June 21st, or even sometimes June 22nd. But to simplify things, let's just take the one date, June 21st. How often does an eclipse occur on June 21st? Now, to do this, we're going to have to think about some of the rhythms of the moon. There are a number of important rhythms that the moon has. The most obvious rhythm is the lunar cycle that takes us from a new moon to a full moon and back to a new moon again. And the time it takes the moon to go from a new moon all the way through the cycle back to a new moon again, that's called a synodic month. That is a period of 29.53 days, a synodic month. It comes from the Greek word synodos, which means meeting, because a new moon is kind of like a meeting of the moon and the sun. A new moon is where the moon moves between the Earth and the sun, and this gives us this term, a synodic month. The first requirement, the most basic requirement for a solar eclipse is to have a new moon, because you need to have the moon between the Earth and the sun. But of course, we don't have a solar eclipse every new moon. We don't have a solar eclipse every synodic month. Now, the reason for that is that the moon's orbit around the Earth is slightly tilted. So most new moons, you don't get a perfect alignment between the Earth, the moon, and the sun. The moon is either just a tiny bit too high or a tiny bit too low, and you don't get this perfect alignment every month. Now, going back to the synodic month, this period of 29.53 days, there is a curious a curious coincidence. If you take 235 synodic months, that's 235 times 29.53 days, you end up with, almost exactly, you end up with 19 calendar years.
Oh.
Which means that every 19 years, the same lunar phase happens on the same date. So today, June 21st, it's a new moon. 19 years from now, we will also have a new moon on June 21st. 19 years ago in the past, June 21st, we had a new moon. Now, of course, we've just said that because of the moon's tilted orbit, just because it's a new moon, that doesn't guarantee you a solar eclipse. However, there is a very freaky relationship between the moon's tilted orbit and this cycle of 19 years. This cycle of 19 years, it's called the Metonic Cycle. It's named after Meton of Athens, an ancient Greek mathematician. And there is this curious coincidence that the Metonic Cycle gives us a freakish run of 4 or 5 solar eclipses 19 years apart. And then the cycle, the relationship breaks down and you get no solar eclipses on that date for about 3 centuries. But we are in the middle of this freakish run right now. So today, 21st of June, 2020, we have an annular solar eclipse. 19 years from today, 21st of June, 2039, we will have another annular eclipse on the same date. 19 years ago in the past, 21st of June 2001, we had a total solar eclipse, and we can actually go one step more into the future and the past. 21st of June 2058, this is 2 19-year cycles into the future, there will be a partial solar eclipse on the 21st of June in 2058. And there was a partial solar eclipse on the 21st of June, 1982. That is 2 19-year cycles into the past. So we have this very freakish run of 5 solar eclipses on the 21st of June, separated by this period of 19 years. But that's as much as you get. Then you have centuries without a solar eclipse on the 21st of June. It is just this curious relationship between this 19-year lunar cycle and just the tilt of the moon's orbit gives us this very freakish relationship.
But the one in 2039 will also happen on the solstice, right?
So 2039, that is also the solstice, right? 21st of June, 2039. So that is, we just have to wait 19 years for another June solstice annular eclipse.
But there are other calendar relationships, aren't there, between the eclipses that come every 6 months? We have a calendar illustration, don't we?
Right. So, the moon has a number of rhythms to it. And this calendar that we're looking at demonstrates another important rhythm, and that is the rhythm of the tilt of the moon's orbit. So we're looking here at a 4-year period of solar eclipses, and we know that for a solar eclipse we need to have a new moon, but we also need to have the moon's tilted orbit aligned just right. Now, it turns out that about every 6 months, the moon's tilted orbit comes into alignment for a period of about 34 days. There's a 34-day period when the moon's tilt is close enough to make a solar eclipse possible. This is called an eclipse season. For about 34 days, the tilt aligns and the stage is set for a solar eclipse. All we need to add is a new moon. Now we know that
we're in the middle of a solar eclipse season right now, aren't we? Sorry for interrupting. We're in the middle of one right now. We had a partial lunar eclipse, a penumbral lunar eclipse in the start of the month, and we're going to have another one. We have our annular solar eclipse now, and then we're going to have another penumbral lunar eclipse in the start of July, right?
That's right. So we have this period of 34 days, an eclipse season. And during that period, any new moon will produce a solar eclipse somewhere on the Earth. Likewise, any full moon will produce a lunar eclipse. Now, because we know from the synodic month that we get a new moon every 29.53 days, we also get a full moon every 29.53 days. Because the eclipse season is 34 days long, that guarantees that there must be at least one solar eclipse and one lunar eclipse in any eclipse season. There might even be two if one comes at the start, one comes at the finish. And you mentioned just now, we had a penumbral lunar eclipse 2 weeks ago. We will have another penumbral lunar eclipse in 2 weeks' time. So this eclipse season has 3 eclipses, 1 solar and 2 lunar eclipses. And the solar eclipse calendar we have on the screen at the moment shows the solar eclipses we've had during these seasons over a 4-year period. This is also nice, Anna, because this is a bit of a memory lane trip for us as well on timeanddate.com. So February 26th, 2017, there was an annular eclipse across South America and Central Africa. I was on the ground in Angola for timeanddate.com for that eclipse. An eclipse season passes. We wait about 6 months and then we get to the next eclipse season. Anna, you and I were together on the 21st of August, 2017 for the Great American Eclipse, the total solar eclipse across the United States. We then wait about 6 months for the next eclipse season. Now 2018 and the beginning of 2019, we have this run of partial eclipses. Now kind of looks a little bit boring, just those partial eclipses, but the other side of the coin is that we also have lunar eclipses during these eclipse seasons. And, Anna, we had 3 spectacular total lunar eclipses that we broadcast on timeanddate.com. First was in January 2018. That was 2 weeks before the partial solar eclipse you can see here. At the end of July 2018, between these 2 partial solar eclipses, there was another total lunar eclipse. And then again, January 2019, that gave us a third total lunar eclipse in an 18-month period. And then the rhythm shifts back towards solar eclipses. So last July, we were in Argentina to broadcast the total solar eclipse on the 2nd of July 2019. 6 months later, there was and another annular solar eclipse 6 months after that brings us to today, June 2020, and today's annular eclipse. So these eclipse seasons come about 6 months apart, but not exactly 6 months apart. You can actually see that they come slightly less than 6 months apart. And this is all to do with another interesting rhythm of the moon. The moon has this tilted orbit, but the moon's tilt itself is rotating around the moon, which means that every year these eclipse seasons happen about 20 days earlier. So 3 years ago we had that great American eclipse on August 21st. Here we are now, 3 years on. We've slipped all the way back to June, because every year, because of this other rhythm of the moon, the way that its tilted orbit is actually rotating and spinning around the moon, it means that every year eclipse seasons come 20 days earlier. This gives us the concept of an eclipse year. An eclipse year is shorter than a calendar year. An eclipse year has 2 eclipse seasons, but it's only 346 days long. It's 20 days shorter than a calendar year. And that means, as we can see from our eclipse calendar here, eclipses happen just a little bit earlier every year.
Well, we can look forward to a total solar eclipse again in December. So that's in another 6 months. So we're still within the eclipse year of our calendar, aren't we?
Right, that's it. 14th of December is so again. It's just a little bit less than 6 months. We will be in the middle of our next eclipse season.
So, but right now we're looking at an annular solar eclipse, and we're looking at a beautiful picture from Yunlin County in Taiwan, where the moon is slowly eating itself into the sun. We've got from Taipei City and from Yunlin County at the moment in Taiwan, where the moon is eating into the sun. And we'll leave you with those images for now, and we'll see you soon. We're on timeanddate.live. Check out the blog, and we'll be back soon. And we are back, timeanddead.com live, looking at the moon. No, not the moon. Well, it's the moon moving in over the sun in Taipei City, Taiwan. And it's easy to get a little bit confused here because we've got a pink, whitish crescent sun, and then we've got a yellow, orangey one from Sursa, and we had a black and white one from Ishigaki, and then we had a really red one from Brunei. So we had a lot of different variations of the sun up on the screen there before we came on, Graham. Please explain.
Well, when telescopes are pointed at the sun, they do need solar filters. And there are different kinds of solar filter that can be fitted to a telescope. And they all filter out slightly different wavelengths, and they give you a slightly different color sun. That's why we're seeing here this very white sun from Taiwan and that very yellowy sun from India. The difference is simply in the filter that is being used on the telescope. There's also, of course, a bit of processing going on that takes the telescope image and turns it into the digital file that we can see on the screen here as well. All of that just helps to create slightly different shades of the sun. So different astronomers, different equipment, different parts of the world giving us, different shades of the sun today.
And also we can see that the moving from the bottom up into the sun in Taipei. In Sirsa, the eclipse is ending, so we've got the moon moving off the sun there. And then we did talk about images being upside down or inverted earlier on. And did we have any inverted images now? Because it can be quite confusing to look at all these different crescent shapes.
Right. So at the moment we have about 4 different images that we've been looking at in the last few minutes. So as you said, yes, the small image, top right-hand corner, Sirsa. This is getting very much towards the end of the partial eclipse here. The partial eclipse will finish in Sirsa at 8:12. So around about half an hour to go until the end of the eclipse in Sirsa. Our main image coming from Taipei, the maximum eclipse in Taipei will be around the same time, 8:13. So that's also about half an hour. We also have some images coming from Yunlin County in Taiwan. So Taipei, the city, is up in the northern end of the island. The path of annularity today is going across the southern part of Taiwan. And we do have a feed coming from Yunlin County where, if the clouds hold for us, we should have around about a minute of annularity. That is also happening at 8:13. So again, in just under half an hour. The final images that we've seen recently, we have some pictures from Japan, from Ishigaki Island, which is really one of the southernmost islands of Japan, actually very close to Taiwan. So the eclipsed sun in Ishigaki Island looking very similar to the eclipsed sun in Taiwan. We also had an image from Brunei, so really down in Southeast Asia. This is quite far south of the path of annularity. In Brunei, they will be having a partial eclipse today of a magnitude of around 0.38. So there's a small partial eclipse in Brunei. That's another image that we've had on our screen recently. There we have the image from Ishigaki Island. In Japan, very close to Taiwan. So the eclipse looking very similar in Ishigaki and Taiwan.
And earlier on, we were talking about eclipse seasons and how they all connect. 19 years we're in there. You had a lot of different kinds of months. And there's another month we need to think about before, so we can understand how eclipses work.
Right, Anna, you had so much fun thinking about the synodic month and the eclipse year that, we just thought would you like to hear about one more important rhythm that the moon has? So the moon's orbit around the Earth is not a circle. It is an elliptical shape. So sometimes the moon is a little bit closer to us. Sometimes the moon is a little bit further away. Today, the moon is a little bit further away. That's why we're having an annular eclipse, because the moon isn't quite big enough to cover the sun completely. When the moon is at its closest point to the Earth, that is called perigee. When it's at its furthest point, that is called apogee. There is a final lunar cycle that we can tell you about, and that is the time it takes the moon to go from perigee all the way around to apogee and back to perigee again. That is called the Anomalistic Month, and that is 27.55 days.
So how many months do we have now? How many different levels do we have?
Right. Okay, so we've looked now there at 3 lunar cycles. There is the synodic month, the time from a new moon through to a full moon, back to a new moon again. There is an eclipse year. That is when the tilt of the moon's orbit produces 2 eclipse seasons, slightly less than a calendar year. And we have the anomalistic month, the time it takes for the moon to go from its closest point to its furthest point, back to its closest point again. Now, here is the interesting thing with these 3 cycles. Here is another freakish coincidence. Anna, if you take 223 synodic months and you take 19 eclipse years and you take 239 anomalistic months, you will see that all of those add up to equal 18 years, 11 days, and 8 hours. These 3 cycles fall into almost perfect synchronization every 18 years, 11 days, and 8 hours. Now, these 3 cycles, these give us the 3 key components of an eclipse. The synodic month, that gives us the new moon. That's like that's the most fundamental thing we need for an eclipse. Eclipse years, that's to do with the tilt of the moon's orbit. That's the second thing that we need for an eclipse. The anomalistic month, that tells us how near or far the moon is. That tells us whether it's going to be a total eclipse or an annular eclipse. These 3 cycles fall into more or less perfect synchronization. And that means that every 18 years, 11 days, and 8 hours, we get pretty much the same eclipse taking place.
And we actually do have a graphic that we make. I found that really astounding.
Right. So today is June 21st, 2020. If we go back in time, 18 years, 11 days, and 8 hours, we go back to June the 10th, 2002. And here we have on our screen now a side-by-side comparison of the eclipse maps for these 2 eclipses. And we can see that these eclipses are pretty much identical. The light shaded area is where there is a partial eclipse. In the middle, you can see the very narrow path of annularity, that dark red line running through the middle. That's the path of annularity. You can see that these 2 eclipses have really exactly the same shape. Now, of course, the interesting difference is going back to 2002, there it's June the 10th to June the 11th. Now, it's just an odd thing because the eclipse is going across the international date line. So that's actually giving us 2 dates for that eclipse. Of course, the big difference is that they are in the eclipse in 2002. This was further to the east. The eclipse, today's eclipse in 2020, has been shifted to the west. Now, this is where the 8 hours comes in, because we're talking about a cycle of 18 years, 11 days, and 8 hours. Now, during that 8 hours, the Earth is spinning. 8 hours is what? It's 1/3 of a day. So during 8 hours, the Earth has spun on its axis 1/3. So today's eclipse is the same eclipse as June the 10th, 2002, but it is shifted 1/3 of the way around the globe. And this really shows us, and really how every eclipse is different. Because here you have 2 eclipses that, in terms of the orbital mechanics of the Earth and the Moon and the Sun, these eclipses are more or less identical. But when you put them onto the map, these eclipses are completely different. Because June the 10th, 2002, annularity took place. It's boring, right? It's just across the Pacific. It doesn't really go overland at all. 18 years, 11 days, 8 hours ago, it was the great overwater eclipse. And how many people saw annularity then? But we come forward to the next eclipse in the cycle, and now it is the great overland eclipse. It's a completely different kind of eclipse. So yeah, it's the same eclipse, but at the same time, it's a different eclipse because of that 8 hours difference moves it 1/3 of the way around the world. And that is
What a difference
the
it makes.
Saros cycle. Yeah, right.
It makes a huge difference, doesn't it?
Completely different. And so there is there is one of the great heavenly rhythms, the Saros cycle, discovered 2,500 years ago by the Babylonians, who discovered this hidden rhythm in the movements of the Earth and the Moon and the Sun.
And we're coming up towards annularity in Taiwan. We've got looking at a beautiful image there from Yunnan County, and they will be getting it. What did you say? 8:13 UTC, wasn't it about then that they would have annularity?
Annularity in Yunnan County is coming up at 8:13. That's correct.
So not so far away, just 15 minutes away or so. So we'll leave you with beautiful images from Yunnan County and hopefully from Ishigaki Island and from Taipei. And we'll have a look at those and we'll see you very soon. Check out timeanddead.com/live. We have more information on our blog there, and we'll see you back in a while.